Hello again, everybody. Nathan Mendel here with Mendel & Company Construction and your construction tip of the week. First of all, I want to tell you that this week actually I am going to talk about construction items. My wife has been watching these videos and chastised me last month that my topics were not construction related enough. So this one is especially for her. This is purely construction. And I got my idea for my topic this week from this latest issue of the Better Business Bureau magazine, and it caught my attention because down in the lower left-hand corner they've got a headline for an article inside called How to Find a Reliable Contractor. And obviously, as I feel that we are one, I wanted to see what their thoughts were. And I've got to mention that I went into this with probably a little bit of a prejudice that I was not going to like what I saw in the article or agree with it, and that turned out not to be the case. So even before I get into the article in a little bit of detail and my tips in addition to what they've written here, I will also mention that it's important to go into any endeavor with an open mind. I actually had already kind of started thinking about the topic for this discussion simply based on that headline and what I thought was going to be glossing over things in this article, and I was happily surprised that it was not. So this article inside is by Sue Bjorkman, and I want to commend her for a very thorough article and some really good advice. If you'd like a copy of this magazine, just shoot me respond to this email and I'm happy to send it over to you. But I think she did a really good job. A couple of the tips that she gave in here, and some of these for me seem like common sense, but I think she did a nice job of laying it out there, was she mentioned putting in starting and completion dates within a contract, not so much just contract and scope, but when is it going to get done, along with what we call milestones. So not just a start and a stop date, but some critical path items in between on how you can, as the project owner, know if you're on schedule before getting to the end and saying, okay, we're now behind. I thought that was terrific. She also mentioned in here interviewing contractors in person, which I think is huge, and asking questions about them. And here I would like to elaborate a little bit more fully. I think she does a nice job again of laying the foundation, but I wanted to add a couple of other items to that, and that is this. She mentions the typical response of, ask for 3 references and then call. And I will say this, we've found in our experience that even when we give references, the amount of times that they are not called on, I would say, is more often than they are. So a lot of people might meet me, get the impression that I'm a straight shooter, and then take my word for it that the references are going to pan out. And while that is true in our case, that's not what my recommendation would be. Some people may present a very good front, and yet, when you dig down a little bit deeper, you find out that, everybody's experience isn't as glamorous as they've made it out to be. So I would caution on that, and I would very much encourage people to absolutely call the references and dig a little bit deeper. And what I mean by that is 2 things. One, don't just ask for 3 references. One of the things that we do a little bit different in my company is that we actually give a reference of every project we've completed since the inception of the company. So not just our best 3 projects, but this is what we've done in general, and we have contact information for every one of them. And we do that for a couple of reasons. One, obviously it shows a little bit more depth and is not nearly as self-selecting as giving our best 3 projects. But 2, we find in our industry that as these people look through the hundreds and hundreds of references that we provide, that they'll find somebody that they know personally. So instead of calling XYZ company because we asked them to, they can actually then at that point call a friend that they may not have realized went with us, and find out, and it's easier obviously at that point to have that conversation with them. But one other thing along those lines, ask for some other references. If they've got, if they come out and give you their list of references, whether it's 3 or 10 or whatever it might be, at that point, ask them for some more. Ask them for maybe some architects that they've worked with, or some subcontractors that they work with on a regular basis. Or another one that I really like to do, if you're talking to somebody that they've given you as a reference, ask that reference if they know somebody else that has worked with this company as well, and then absolutely call that one who wasn't on the original list. In that way, you'll be digging a little bit deeper and get to the bottom of people's real opinions on what they think of it, and I think that's crucial. The other question that was not in this article that I would very much encourage people to ask is asking more about the typical and maybe the large end of a project that your contractor has worked on. People tend to get segmented in niches. For us, again, we're a commercial contractor. We don't do any residential work, and our typical project is probably in the $200,000 to $500,000 range. So that's kind of what we consider our breadbasket. In addition to that, we've done projects up into the $3-4 million range, and we're comfortable with those. But if somebody were to present us with a $10 million project, that wouldn't be a good fit for us, and we would let them know. And that's very important to find out. Just because a contractor has a good reputation, it needs to fit within the scope of your project, and that was not mentioned in the article. So those were a couple of places where I differed, but again, I want to really give a good shout out to Sue Bjorkman on this article. And again, if you'd like a copy of it, please feel free to contact me, and I'm happy to send it along to you. If you have comments, if you think I've missed something, and there's another tip that you'd like to pass along to folks on what they should be asking when they're looking for a contractor, please let me know. Thank you.